The sky was a merciless gray, heavy with the weight of an unrelenting storm that refused to relent. In the heart of Texas Hill Country, a slow-moving tempest unleashed its fury, transforming the serene landscape into a scene of unimaginable chaos. Torrents of rain pounded the earth, each drop a hammer blow to communities already weary from a summer of drought. Kerr and Kendall counties bore the brunt, their streets, homes, and lives swallowed by a deluge that struck in the dead of night, catching families in their sleep, campers in their tents, and drivers on roads that vanished beneath raging waters. The Guadalupe River, a lifeline of the region, turned traitor, surging past 25 feet in mere hours, its muddy currents tearing through neighborhoods with a ferocity that left no warning, no chance to prepare. "Oh my God," a voice trembled in a video captured by a shaking hand. The camera panning across a parking lot turned lake, cars bobbing like toys in the churning floodwaters. There's people out there, so many people. The desperation in the voice mirrored the scenes unfolding across Kerrville, where the river's wrath reached its second highest crest in recorded history, rivaling the devastating flood of 1987. According to the National Weather Service, some areas near Hunt saw over 10 inches of rain fall in just 3 hours. A 1-in-100-year event that overwhelmed the parched, hardened ground, unable to absorb the sudden onslaught.
No, that bridge is so good. Dang.
The Guadalupe River, swollen by a combination of tropical moisture and the remnants of a storm system once known as Tropical Storm Barry, roared through Kerrville and Comfort, jumping nearly 30 feet in less than an hour in some stretches. Homes along Coke Street and Guadalupe Street stood no chance as water rushed in, turning living rooms into rivers and backyards into lakes. 1812 Coke Street, a frantic post on social media pleaded, "Still waiting on water rescue. If anyone has boats or jet skis, please help us get my in-laws and the elderly out." The cries for help echoed across platforms, each post a heartbreaking snapshot of families clinging to hope as floodwaters rose around them. In the darkness, the river's power was unrelenting. Entire neighborhoods disappeared under muddy waves, with only rooftops and treetops piercing the surface. Residents scrambled to higher ground, some climbing onto roofs, others clinging to trees as the current tugged at their legs. One mother, her voice breaking in a recorded plea, described holding her 2 children in a tree for hours, the cold rain lashing their faces as they waited for rescue. "I thought we were going to die," she later told a local reporter, her hands still trembling. "The water came so fast, we didn't have time to think." Across Kerr County, 911 calls flooded dispatch centers, overwhelmed operators struggling to keep up as reports of stranded families, swept away vehicles, and missing loved ones poured in. Camp Mystic, a cherished all-girls Christian summer camp nestled along the Guadalupe's banks, became a focal point of the tragedy. Cabins collapsed under the flood's force, scattering belongings and separating campers from counselors. At least 27 girls and 1 counselor were reported missing, their fates uncertain as rescue teams waded through debris-choked waters. "Our hearts are broken," the camp's statement read, "alongside our families enduring this unimaginable tragedy." Parents gathered at reunification centers, their faces etched with fear, clutching photos of their daughters, praying for miracles that seemed to slip further away with each passing hour. The names of Renee Smajsterla, Janie Hunt, Sarah Marsh, and Lila Bonner emerged among the confirmed losses, each a devastating blow to families and the tight-knit community. Other camps, like Sierra Vista and Rio Vista, reported severe damage, but no missing children, a small mercy in the chaos. Camps Waldemar, Mo Ranch, and Lady Lodge confirmed all staff and campers were accounted for, though access to these sites remained perilous, cut off by washed-out roads and fallen trees. In Ingram, entire RV parks were obliterated, trailers ripped from their foundations and carried downstream, some with families still inside. "It was like a nightmare," one survivor recounted, his voice hollow. "One minute we were sleeping, the next we were swimming for our lives."
Okay, my house is flooding. Anybody out there? I have my dad on hospice and I need to get him out of here. He's bedridden, he can't walk, he can hardly move, and look where the water is. So somebody please, we've called 911. It's bad over here. In front of the house, it's like a river. I mean, it's like a lake.
The scale of the disaster was staggering. By Monday, officials confirmed at least 104 fatalities across central Texas, with 84 in Kerr County alone, including 28 children. Dozens remained unaccounted for, their fates unknown as search teams scoured the riverbanks, using helicopters, drones, and sonar to locate survivors or recover the lost. "This is a life-saving operation," Governor Greg Abbott declared, his voice resolute as he deployed the Texas National Guard, U.S. Coast Guard, and FEMA to the region.
See all those cars? People, or is it a boat? I can't tell. I see that person walking.
Over 1,000 personnel, including 400 first responders from 20 agencies, worked tirelessly, navigating treacherous waters and debris-strewn landscapes. Helicopters buzzed overhead, airlifting survivors from rooftops and trees, while swift water teams braved currents to reach those trapped. A private drone, flown by a well-meaning onlooker, collided with a rescue helicopter, forcing an emergency landing and sidelining a critical asset, a stark reminder of the chaos complicating efforts. The World Meteorological Organization, WMO, highlighted the broader context of such events, noting that climate change is intensifying extreme weather across the globe.
Maybe those all collect right there.
A warmer atmosphere holds more moisture, leading to heavier, more destructive downpours. A recent WMO report stated, pointing out that Texas has seen a 20% increase in heavy rainfall events since the late 1950s. The report underscored the need for enhanced early warning systems, a point painfully relevant in Kerrville, where local officials admitted the lack of a river warning system contributed to the disaster's toll. "We didn't know this flood was coming," Kerr County Judge Rob Kelly said, his voice heavy with regret. "No one did." The United Nations, through its Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, OCHA, emphasized the growing frequency of such crises, urging global investment in disaster preparedness.
Somehow I let mine to grow up to be cowboys, but I don't know if he's bred any other way. That's all he knows. Alright, he can come out now, son. Go ahead and careful with him.
Communities in vulnerable regions, like Texas Hill Country, need resilient infrastructure and robust early warning systems to mitigate loss, an OCHA spokesperson stated. In response to the crisis, FEMA activated financial aid programs, advising survivors to file insurance claims first, as federal assistance cannot duplicate covered losses. The Kerr County Flood Relief Fund, launched by the Community Foundation of the Texas Hill Country, began channeling donations to vetted organizations supporting rescue, relief, and recovery efforts. Local government responses were swift but strained. Kerrville's city manager, Dalton Rice, described the ongoing search as a primary phase, stretching over 60 miles from Hunt to Comal County. The terrain is brutal, the debris is overwhelming, and the rain keeps falling, he said, his exhaustion evident. Flash flood warnings remained in effect, with the National Weather Service cautioning that even an additional inch of rain could trigger new surges. Roads like FM 1350 and Highway 27 were impassable, transformed into raging tributaries, while power outages and downed communication lines left many areas isolated. In Comfort, mandatory evacuations were ordered as the Guadalupe River continued its rampage, swallowing bridges and entire neighborhoods. The environmental impact was profound. The Texas Hill Country, known as Flash Flood Alley for its steep limestone hills and fast-draining rivers, was particularly vulnerable. Ranchers reported hundreds of cattle lost, their fields turned into deep, muddy lakes. Barns, fencing, and equipment were swept away, devastating livelihoods. "Everything I've worked for is gone," one rancher said, standing amid the wreckage of his property. The floodwaters carried debris, trees, vehicles, and household items, clogging waterways and threatening downstream ecosystems. Scientists warned that the region's saturated soils could take weeks to stabilize, increasing the risk of further flooding with even modest rainfall. Amid the destruction, stories of heroism emerged.
-2, Swayambhu Hills.
A 70-year-old man in Center Point spotted a young woman clinging to a tree, swept 12 miles down the Guadalupe from her campsite. "I'm gonna get help," he shouted, flagging down a Department of Public Safety officer after calling 911. A swift water team arrived, securing her with a life vest before pulling her to safety. In Kerrville, volunteers like Alma Garcia drove from San Antonio with home-cooked meals, handing out clothes and supplies to soaked survivors. "The destruction is more than we thought," she said, her voice catching as she surveyed the ravaged landscape. The human toll was unbearable. Jeff Wilson, a beloved Houston teacher, perished while camping with his family. Dick Eastland, the director of Camp Mystic, was swept away while trying to save campers, his legacy as a mentor to thousands of girls etched in the hearts of survivors. Two sisters, Blair and Brooke Harbor, aged 13 and 11, were lost when their cabin was washed away, their grandparents still missing. "Their light will never fade," their pastor wrote, as their Dallas community mourned. Julian Ryan, a 27-year-old dishwasher, fought to save his family, punching through a trailer window as floodwaters rose, only to succumb to his injuries. Each name, each story, a wound in the fabric of Central Texas. As night fell, the region held its breath. Shelters in schools and churches overflowed with evacuees, their faces hollow with shock, clutching blankets and donated clothes. 4th of July celebrations, meant to bring communities together, were canceled, with fireworks funds redirected to relief efforts. At Travis Park in San Antonio, a vigil mourned the dozens lost, candles flickering against the rain-soaked night. Austin Pets Alive rescued pets from flooded areas, while donation drives at places like the Nowhere Bookshop and Folklore's Coffee House collected essentials for survivors. We're a resilient community, Williamson County Judge Stephen Snell said, but we have a long way to go.
It's not gonna make it out of the yard. There it goes. This might be where the fence goes.
The Guadalupe River, still swollen and unpredictable, loomed as a reminder of nature's power. This is a 100-year catastrophe, President Trump said, announcing a disaster declaration to unlock federal resources. Yet, questions lingered about preparedness. Critics pointed to cuts at the National Weather Service, which lost nearly 600 staff earlier in the year, though meteorologists like Avery Tomasco defended the agency's timely warnings. They issued a flood watch 12 hours before and a warning 3 hours before the river climbed, she said. Still, the lack of local warning systems and the timing, striking in the pre-dawn hours of a holiday weekend, left many vulnerable, especially tourists unfamiliar with the region's flood-prone terrain. The crisis was far from over. The National Weather Service warned of more storms, with up to 4 inches of rain possible, threatening already devastated areas. This water may lead to another rise downstream, the Kerr County Sheriff's Office posted, urging residents to stay vigilant. Search teams worked through the night, their flashlights cutting through the darkness, guided by hope and haunted by the growing toll. For those who survived, the memories of that night, the roar of the river, the screams for help, the cold grip of floodwaters, would linger forever. Central Texas, battered but unbroken, began the long road to recovery. Volunteers cleared debris, neighbors shared what little they had, and the nation watched.